just down at Warrandyte. Got some material that I've brought down with me. Just some gravels. At the moment what I'm doing is creating a little bit of a dam. The reason for it is the water flow's just not enough to set up a sluice. So what I've done is just dammed this up. Don't worry, it's not going to be dammed forever. Just to hold back a bit of water. And this spot here had about the shortest distance that I actually had to cover. Alright, so that's pretty much dammed off now. Should be able to see a red bucket. I'll just make sure that I've got that covered. So you can see what I'm going to do. So that's just the Garrett screen. Nice and heavy. So I'm going to run everything into that red bucket for now. I'll just probably turn this a little bit maybe so you can see. There we go. Alright, so I've got my Garrett screen in there. There's a little bit of water. And what I do firstly is screen half into here. There's only a little bit in that one. So I want to make sure I wash all my gravels. Good. Alright. I've got another, this has got a tiny little bit of material. I'm pretty much just cleaning out a lot of buckets and stuff that I've had at home. Some of it's just been too annoying to work, or clay and bits and pieces, and I thought I'd get out today and just run the stuff, and I thought while I'm down here I'll do a live explaining what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. So there wasn't much in that one. This is about half a bucket of larger rocks and some clay and bits and pieces. Now I am going to screen down again after this, but this is the first screening. Advantage here, rather than doing it at home, is this material has a lot of silt and clay, and you need a lot of water to clean it. Hopefully there's some gold here, but like everything, there's no guarantees. I'll keep looking every so often if there's anyone watching or asking questions or whatever else. But get these few buckets out of the way. I've got one more reasonably, there's some clay in that. One more 20-litre bucket that's full of rocks and gravels. Alright, that's done. touching that at all. And now I've got this bucket, which is going to be heavy. Now you could possibly do what I'm doing straight into a pan and do it in the creek, but stuff goes over the edge of your pan and all that, so I've just chosen to do it this way. A lot of this clay is very sticky. I suppose rather than making actually a YouTube video about this, I thought today, doing the live, you get to see, not just this glamorized, oh look, I did this and I found this. You actually get to see the work that sort of goes in a little bit here. Alright. Now the rocks with the clay end up working it and breaking the clay off. There's still going to probably be a little bit of clay on these rocks, and hopefully a little bit of gold stuck there as well. And by damming this up that little bit, creating a pool of water, it's just an adjustment that you need to make sometimes when you get to the creek, especially at the moment. Pretty soon you won't have to do this stuff because we'll have plenty of water flow and it'll be all good and everything will be great. And then you won't be able to get into those deep sections that are holding the good gold because it's going to go over your head. I tend to just throw me rocks in the creek. I don't really chuck them up on the banks, and there's a very good sort of reason for that. One, it's going to be a really high flood before those rocks and everything else drop back into the creek if you throw them up on the bank. Two, it doesn't look too nice, and the rocks in the creek are rocks in the creek, I suppose, at the end of the day. Now I'm getting the majority of the clay off, but I'm seeing I'm still leaving these rocks here. Some of these are still got a little bit of clay, but I do want to get the majority of it off. Still a little bit of clay. And now it's going to be that little tiny bit of clay that's going to be holding something, especially if it's full of gravels. Alright, not much left to go now. Alright, that is pretty much nearly everything. Alright, now, so you can buy these wire screens. I think this one's 8 mesh, the larger one. That's a little bit smaller. Look, I'm not expecting any gold above that, but I'm just going to use the larger one of the two that you can buy. So, these Bunnings buckets here, the screen fits perfectly and you've got a handle. So, now I'm going to get in here definitely some oversized rocks. Knowing that I'm going to get those oversized rocks, I'm just going to get this screen, sit that on top because I can see a ton of them in here. Right. I'll get the pan. Bugger. There we go, see? And I'll get my snuffer bottle before that goes running away. Let's throw this somewhere else for now. Right, there's the thing. So, throw some water in here. Wash these gravels again. The other thing, having that screen locking in, like what happened before when I was putting this stuff into the bucket, there was obviously some rocks that made it over the edges, that obviously didn't go through the screen. And that was the whole reason of pretty much screening first into this bucket. I know this is probably not the most exciting thing in the world to watch, but I don't know. Some people that can't get to the creek or are thinking about getting to the creek and just get to see what's sort of going on more than, as I said, some little short video or even a long video that, I don't know, cuts out a lot of this sort of stuff that we're doing on the creek. And then once I've screened these, there's not too much more in there. I have got one bucket over behind me that's already got some gravels of a screen down to this size, or half a bucket I should say, and I'll show you where I'm going to set up the river sluice and how I'll go about it. Pretty good. Just get some water in here. Just a few little lumps of clay, nothing too much. Alright, it's done. That's done, won't need those for now. Or I shouldn't need them again actually. Now there might be people turning up and rocking up and all the rest of it. So I'll try and let them know that I am live, and if someone comes down and has a chat, There we go. Oh. Alright, so that pretty much, that doesn't want to play. Throw the buckets in here. Right. I'll get this bucket. So pretty much what I've got is about half a bucket and about a third of a bucket. I'll go down here and then I'll come back and grab the camera and the sluice and we'll have a look and see what's going on. Alright, there's the sluice. I can leave all that stuff here because I'm not going down too far. And I'll work out where I'm going to set this up, and while I'm doing that, I'll have a look and see who's on here. Alright, I can see a few people on here. G'day Matt from Matt's Crevice and Tools. I see he's here. Christy, Morgan. Let me just scroll. MD, how are you? I see you're here. And J&T Gold Prospecting, or Gold Hunters. J&T Gold Hunters. My glasses are fogging up, so it's a bit tricky to show you to see the screen. Alright, so I'll set this up here. And I'll let you know what I'm doing. So I got the river sluice, just this one here, only because I'm expecting super fine gold, and I found this thing doesn't use a lot of water, actually uses less water than my 6-inch gold rat mat, or drain mat I should say. Sluice. Obviously Gold Rat sells it here. So I'll see if I can get you on the other side actually, so you can see me sort of feeding rather than looking at it this way. It's set up reasonably flat, or it's on a decent angle anyway, let's just put it that way. So there's another prospector gone down there, probably able to see him. I'll try and set this up so that you can see it pretty good. Alright, that's pretty good. So at least you can see the sluice. So just down the bottom of this sluice, I'm going to move these gravels, because just as important as that end of the sluice, it's also very important to have both ends. And you can probably see the water seems to be going more. It's not too bad. You should be able to see there. It's coming in reasonably well. You can see the riffles are going down. The first thing I like to do is just get a little handful of material and throw it in and just see what's happening. So if the material's moving down, if it's what's sort of going through, making sure it's not rushing through too quickly. I need to just adjust this a little bit because I feel alright. So from what I can see, what I'm going to do is I'm grabbing some material just off the side here, and I believe a lot of the water is escaping underneath the actual river sluice. So what I want to do is just get some gravels off the side from the actual creek and throw them. And what you need to do sometimes is just throw a bit larger rock in there so that the smaller gravels get jammed up. It's much better. Hopefully you can see that's much better. I can tell it's a bit better. And I can throw my material in. With the clear water, tends to come out. The last thing you want to be doing is feeding. You can see this is really silty, this material. Nicely breaking up, making its way down. That's the whole idea. Don't want to overload it, and just want it slowly to break down and wash down. But as you can see, this is the material is really got a lot of clay in it and a lot of silt. But it's clearing out reasonably well. If I leave it for a bit longer, it'll clear out probably a little bit better. Like with everything, when you're running, I'm just going to break this because it is clay. I'm going to break it down a little bit just with my hand. But the reason for screen, and a bit of gold just popped up. You're not going to see it probably, but if you can, it's right there. One little flake of gold I can see. So at least I'm going to be showing you some gold at the end. And that's what's going to happen is a lot of your gold, when you put it in, running fairly slow like this with the water, is it's going to drop out. Clay's going to break up and it's going to drop out. Alright, I can see now, just with that one little scoop then that I threw in, there's actually 3 pieces of gold and a few lead shots. So you want to spread it out fairly evenly across your sluice when you're feeding. I don't know, some people say do it this way. Honestly, I don't think it makes a difference, not when you're running water at this sort of pace. Definitely a bunch of lead. So that'll be going over to Andy from Poverty Prospecting. He's going to make me something out of some lead, I think. All this lead I'm giving him. I want him to make something for me. We'll see what he makes. But it is clearing it pretty well. Now the gold is slowly getting knocked down that beamer. I hope it is. I hope it's not coming out the other end. There's still a lot of clay in this that isn't broken down, but the reason you're screening is you're trying to liberate the gold from the rest of the material, and by liberating, it's about separating. That's all we're talking about. We're just talking about separating the gold from the clay and the other gravels, so that when it comes into the sluice box, it drops out. And a lot of it will drop out in the mat, and if I was running this super aggressive, it will start dropping out in those ripples as well. And after the more material you run, obviously, the more always one rock, you know, somehow makes its way through. Even though I had the screen seal, it still made its way through. Right, this bucket is getting close to being full. Oh, full. I mean, pretty close to being empty. Just get some water in there. Leave this last little bit in. Just trying to throw and clear this off. Alright, that's done. Right, so I've got about half a bucket. That was the smaller part. What I'm going to do is I'm just going up the creek and I'm going to release my dam. Alright, so dam's released, and you'll probably start seeing the water flow going up a little bit. Alright, we'll start feeding this stuff in now. This material here has got a lot of clay and a lot of silt in it, so I'm just going to hold it back a little bit just so it doesn't roll out and break it up. Should be able to see the water has increased, and that'll last for a little while now. Yeah, this material's not great. Not great for trying to feed a sluice, especially just with the amount of clay and silt and mud that's in this. Makes it a little bit difficult. And you can put a screen and all that sort of stuff to hold the clay. Probably seen that sort of stuff around. I don't have one for this sluice, so I just have to hold it back by hand. So even though this has gone through a screen, it's just reconcentrated. You can probably see just how, just from that scoop, just how much of this clay, how sticky it is. One thing I can't see anymore is my gold. But that was not clever. It's getting muddy again. That was not the plan today. That was not the plan at all. So the gold that I was seeing in that little V-mat has now sort of moved right up into the edge. It's a bit strange, this sluice just has this big lip at the front before that matting and that starts. And I could probably put a bit of angle or something, but the way I'm looking at it, it's a nice big step up, and it'll hold the material or any gold down there like it is all the lead that I can see. We're slowly getting there. Now after that little dam that I had going, the water's probably dropping back off. And nearly there. And nearly there. Just put this bit of silty, dirty water and some mud, as you can see. Nearly done. So what tends to happen as well, as the black sand and everything like that in the material starts filling up the V-mat, it starts covering up some of that gold that you might see at first. Definitely a lot of the gold has been knocked back. I can see a few flakes. And I'm not expecting huge amounts. Most of the gold I probably already recovered. Alright, let me just go grab a pan and we'll give this thing a clean out. We'll have a look and see if there's any gold. Right. So just get some water in my pan. I'll throw that. These rocks, I don't need this dammed up anymore. So throw that up there. Always, as they say, got to make sure this end's clear, and it is pretty clear. Like there's a little bit of material there, nothing too spectacular. Lift your sluice from the end that it's feeding from. That'll reduce the water flow, and no gold, because the water's reducing, the gold's not going to come out that other end. Right. Set this up here. What we will do is just take these wing nuts off. Or butterfly nuts, I don't know, whatever you want to call them. I know them as wing nuts. So, I'm going to make sure we clean every part. That's the riffles. This mesh is in 2 bits on this sluice. I'm going to make sure that's nice and clean. Take this first mat off. And throw it in. Take the second mat out of here. Clean that as well. So yeah, if anyone's got any questions or suggestions or whatever, throw them in. That's if anyone's still here. I know this is one of these exciting videos. Alright. So, I'm going to wash it down this way. That way first, and then just in case there is something. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to put this thing back together simply because if I don't do it now, I'm going to end up putting these wing nuts down somewhere and I'll lose them. Now with this stuff, I know it can go this way, that way. Honestly, I don't think it makes that much of a difference, but it might. But to me, at the moment, I don't think so. I've tried using one in one direction, one in a different direction, and honestly, I personally don't see the real difference. But there might be. Some people might go, oh, no, look at this. And if that's the case, if it works for you, it works for you. For me, I don't know. As I said, I don't see the difference. Alright. So that is done. I'm just going to go up over here and we'll have a look if I can reveal some gold for you. I'm going to go into the calmer water. The last thing you want to do is stand where the water's flowing. You just want to be panning in the calmer water. let a lot of that silt just wash away. Still a little bit of surprise. I don't know if this clay's just re-clumping or what's going on, but there should be a little bit of clay in there. Because we're dealing with concentrates, a lot of the time I will either stick another pan under here, or I use my high banker little mat. It's not a heap of material, but it still will pay to use something to capture those concentrates, especially if you're just starting off. Hang on, mate. But yeah, we'll go slowly. I'm seeing the lead coming. These sort of little larger pebbles and that you can just take out. Always go back to the flat. And then slowly. Now I can see here a ton of lead. Some other type of weird bit of metal in there. And I can see some gold. Just knocking the lead out of there to make it a little bit easier. Just slowly get rid of those black sand. I'm not done. Yeah. One little speck got away there. So I've still got a little bit of material in there. I'll leave that to do in a second. I'll show you on here what's going on. I'll try and look on the camera so that you can see. But yeah, just up here. Hoping you can see all that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Got 20 pieces of gold, and down this end there's quite a bit of lead as well. It's all lead in there. There's a ton of lead and a bit of black sand. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for everyone that's come and had a look. Something a little bit different. No, it's going to be a long video, but it is what it is. And just remember, on the 10th for the members, there'll be a video up for all the members that are in the treasure hunt, and that'll go live for them to go find the treasure on the 10th. Till the next time guys, see you all later.